Welcome to Optimal Game State. Right now, we're in a calm before the storm that is the release of 10th edition of Warhammer 40k. Games Workshop Factories and the Hype Machine are currently focused on the new Leviathan box set, which is set to have pre-ordered on Saturday the 10th of June. Normally I focus on the Warhammer skirmish games, but this is something I've been thinking about for myself. There is going to be a big push to sell you the Leviathan box, and I'm not here to definitively tell you that you should or should not pick it up. That's something you'll have to decide for yourself. However, I will ask some questions that will hopefully help you make a right decision. This is the box. It is absolutely packed. 72 models in total, mostly Tyrannid. You'll also receive a special edition of the new 40k rulebook, which, in addition to everything the normal rulebook has, also includes the Crusade expansion for the Tyrannic War. Lastly, you get a mission deck, which is a way to generate random missions. Rumours about the price come from the small print of a competition at Warhammer Fest, where you could win a Leviathan box when it eventually comes out. So we're expecting this to be priced around £150, 230 US dollars, 185 euros, and 420 million Aussie dollary-dos. This purchase checklist is from my hype versus hobby video. We look at these in a bit more detail, but the broad questions are: is this the right purchase? Do I want to paint this? Will I get to play this? Do I have the time? The first question about whether this is the right purchase or not is probably the trickiest. A lot of that will depend on whether you're a new player or not. If you're completely new to the hobby, I'd suggest checking out one of the smaller games like Kill Team or Warcry first. If you're already in the hobby but new to 40k, then it's a really good deal, especially if you like the look of the factions. However, you need to be aware of what you're getting into. This isn't a game in a box. It's a massive hobby project that might have a game at the end. If you're planning on playing at home, you should also consider getting some scenery and the necessary hobby materials to make it all look good. If you already have a Space Marine army, then this box gets you a lot of new miniatures. However, if you're like me, you still have Indomitus and maybe even a few Dark Imperium models to finish. The Space Marine model range is already well supported, so while these are some great new models, especially those Terminators, you already had plenty to pick from. So while Leviathan is a good value, you need to ask yourself whether you'd be better off just picking up the rulebook and working on the models you already have. On the other hand, if you're a Tyrannid player, you have been waiting for a decade for new models, and in many cases 2 decades for some model updates. Enjoy this moment. Not only is it a great deal for what you get, but you can also sell off the other models to the masses of Space Marine players. The next question is whether you're willing to paint these models. Often the GW Hype Machine sells us the studio painted models in our heads, but we end up with the plastic kits in our hands. It seems obvious at face value, but it's important to acknowledge that to get the models looking as great as they do on the box, we are going to have to paint them ourselves. This might be a good time to work out a paint scheme, especially one that's relatively quick to complete. There are a good number of models in this box, even if you're only interested in one side. But you can absolutely get them onto the table and looking good if you put in the work. Alternatively, if you're fine with playing with unpainted models, then go for it. If you're looking to actually play the game though, you are going to need a little bit more than just this box. The best case scenario is if you have an accomplice willing to play the other faction. If you're lucky enough to have a local store where people play, it's likely that stores will be running the Combat Patrol format at launch, but games will eventually settle into a larger format, so expect to be spending a little bit more picking up a few more miniatures. If you don't have a local store or friends who are interested in playing, this box can still be a great purchase, but you have to accept that you're probably not going to get to play. If you're okay with that, then push ahead. The last question we have is whether you have the time. Although the end goal of having fun at the table is alluring, there's only so much time in the day. Not only do we have to make time for hobby, but we also have to decide which hobby comes first. Sometimes that means dropping projects to make room, and Leviathan with over 70 models is a big project. Similarly, if we're planning on playing some 40k, that means we're not playing Warcry, Kill Team, or some other game. There is currently a lot of hype around the Leviathan box, with some people wondering whether it will sell out straight, despite the massive amount of boxes GW claimed to have made. Without a doubt, the Leviathan box is a fantastic deal. You get significant savings when you compare the price to getting the kits individually. The value is so good that I'm pretty sure you still get a discount even if you're only interested in one of the armies. However, If you're not going to paint or play at least one army, then it's probably a waste of money. That doesn't mean you shouldn't necessarily pick it up. It's absolutely fine to just be happy that you have the box on your shelves, even if you never open it. But it's important that we're honest with ourselves. We want to avoid getting ourselves excited about something that just isn't realistic. So how about you? Are you planning on picking up this box? And did anything in this video change your mind? Please leave a comment and let me know. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Each week I put up a new video talking about one of Games Workshop's specialist games. The goal is always to try and make the best possible two-player experience. If this is something you'd find interesting, please subscribe to the channel and comment to let me know what you'd like to see in future.